To Butler's Precision CAD/CAM. In this episode, we're going to take a look at creating the tool paths for our 5-jam part and preparing it to cut on a CNC mill. To begin with, we have our Inventor open on our computer, and this video should be playing on your iPad next to your computer as well. Let's go to Orange File in the top left-hand corner of our screen, and let's select Open. Remember, we have our 5-jam part saved in our H drive, so we need to go to our H drive to get it out of there and open it up. Mine automatically populates to my first initial last name 000. This is my H drive. If yours does not automatically do that, click in the pull down menu here and go down to your first initial last name 000. It's the last one in the bottom of the list. In there you'll find your 5-jam part. Click on that and select Open. When it opens up, you are on the 3D Model tab. We're going to go across the top of our ribbon bar and we're going to select our Cam tab from the top menu. Then we're going to have to set up our part first. So let's go to our ribbon bar in the Jobs section. We're going to click on the Setup. And in here there's a few things we need to change. Remember, we're going to be taking these tabs from left to right and talking about each tab from top to bottom. In the first tab that's selected, you can see that our work coordinate system is selected right here in the middle. We need to change that. So down in our origin, we're going to leave this at stock box point, and then we're going to choose the bottom left-hand corner of our front view. Let's go to our next tab, our stock setup. This is a little bit different than we're used to doing, so make sure you're making all these selections as we go forward. We're going to keep this at relative size box. We want to have add stock to sides and top bottom. And in our side offset, we're going to change this to 0.5. Our top offset, we're going to change to 0. And our bottom offset is 0 and round up to the nearest is 0. Since this is the first time we're doing this, let's do a little review. Mode is relative size box, stock offset mode, add stock to sides and top bottom. Side offset is 0.5, top offset 0, bottom offset 0, and round up to the nearest is 0. Now what this does for us, let me rotate around to show you. You can see that it's snug up next to our bottom and our front view. However, when I turn this to my front view, I have additional stock going around the outsides. This is the size of the block we're going to chuck into the CNC mill. And this allows us, when we do this contour cut going around the outside, that it's going to stay chucked into our mill and will not fall out when we do this contour cut. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home view for us. Let's go on to our final tab. We're going to change our program name and number to 5-jam, and then we're going to click OK. The first operation we're going to take care of is we're going to do a 2D milling operation on here where we're going to cut the pockets for this surface here and the bottom of our counter bores. To do this, we want to rotate this part into the proper orientation so we can select them. So over in our navigation pane on the right hand side, we're going to click our free orbit tool or our rotate tool. Put your cursor inside the circle and we're going to rotate this up just a little bit so we can see the bottom of those surfaces. Okay? That looks pretty good. You can either click the free orbit tool again from your navigation pane, or you can press the escape key on your keyboard to let go of that rotate tool. And let's zoom in just a little bit so we're not far away. We're going to go up to our 2D milling section in our ribbon bar and we're going to choose 2D pocket. And we have our tabs at the top again. We're going to work from left to right and we're going to talk about each tab from top to bottom. The first thing we need to do is identify our tool. So click the tool button. We're going to scroll down in this narrow menu on the left hand side, and underneath sample libraries we're going to choose end mills and we're going to select tool number 1, 1/8 inch flat end mill, and click select. Then we're going to go across to our second tab. We're going to identify our geometry. The first thing we're going to do is go into these holes, and I want the bottom surface of that counter bore, not the outside edge, not the inside edge. We want that surface highlighted. Click to select it. And we're going to do that on the other 3 holes as well. Make sure you're selecting that bottom surface. We also want to take and select this outside surface as well as part of our geometry to identify. Okay, once we have that done, let's go to our Heights tab. And here we're going to take, and this should look familiar to you, we're going to change our clearance height, retract height, and feed height all to stock top and 0.2, stock top 0.2, and our feed height to stock top and 0.2. Okay, let's move on to our next tab. In here, down towards the bottom where it says stock to leave section, we're going to uncheck that box so that it cuts right up next to our geometry, going around the outside of our parts and the outside of our counterbores. Let's go on to our final tab. In here, we're going to go down to safe distance in our linking section. We're going to click on that and we're going to highlight it and we'll change that to 0.2. Leads and transitions section, we're going to uncheck lead in, uncheck lead out. And our ramp style, we're going to change the ramp type from helix to plunge. Once we have those done, we're going to click OK in the bottom menu on the left hand side of the screen. It's going to take a little bit of time to generate those toolpaths, and then next we're going to go on to drilling the holes. Okay, we're going to leave it rotated in this position first, and we're going to go up to the drilling section of our rim bar and select the drill option tool. We're going to re-identify our tool, click on the tool button, and we're going to go to underneath end mills, which is underneath sample libraries. We're going to choose tool number 1, 1/8 inch flat, and click select. Go to the next tab where we're going to select our surface or our holes that we're going to drill. So with this rotation that we have, we're going to come in and we're going to click the hole. That's the narrow one in each one of the counter bores. It does not matter the order that you click them in because we have optimize order selected here, and you can see the optimized order. The computer is going to determine what is the best order to drill those holes in. Let's go on to our next tab where we establish our heights. This should be familiar to us. Clearance height, retract height, and feed height we're changing to stock top and 0.2, stock top and 0.2, and stock top and 0.2. Moving on to our final tab, we're going to make sure drilling rapid out is on. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to come over, drill this hole. It's going to rapid retract at accelerated speed, wrap it over to the next hole at accelerated speed, and continue on until it has all 4 holes drilled. Let's click OK. So we have our pocket for the bottom of the counter bores, the pocket for the bottom of the surface here, and we drilled these 4 holes. Next, we're going to run our contour cut around the outside to cut out our part. To do that, we're going to go up to the 2D milling section and we're going to find our 2D contour, and click to select that. Here we're going to re-identify our tool. You can see how there's some red numbers that are in here, and that's not good for us. So we're going to click our tool button to select that tool again. We're going to come down to end mills, which is underneath sample libraries. Click tool number 1, 1/8 inch flat, and select. Going on to our next tab, we're going to come over and select our contour selection first. We want to click the backmost, bottomest part and this edge right here that I have highlighted, and that selects the bottom of our part. Okay, you can see that coming around highlighted blue. In this menu also, we are going to come down and select our tabs option. Okay, this allows us to have the tabs in here so that we can take and have this part cut out, contoured around that edge, and still be clamped into CNC mill. We're going to change our width here to 0.25. We're going to change the height of these tabs to 0.125. And we're going to change the distance here to 0.5. That might be a little much. Let's change that to 0.75. Oops, too many points. 75. Okay? That looks like enough that's in there so that we can take and have this clamped into our mill and still have this part contour cut out, but yet it still remains secure in that stock piece. Moving on to our next part, we're going to click the Heights tab, and this is familiar to us. We're going to go to Stock Top and 0.2. Stock Top and 0.2 for retract height, and our feed height we're going to change to Stock Top and 0.2 as well. Going on to our next tab, let's scroll down a little bit. Since this piece is a 1/2 inch thick, we're going to click and put a check mark in front of multiple depths. We're going to change our maximum roughing step down distance to 0.25. Okay, let's see what else is in here. Everything else looks good. We're making sure that stock to leave is unchecked. We do not want a check box in front of that. And moving on to our last tab, our linking tab. Our safe distance in the linking parameters, we're going to click to highlight, and we're going to change that to 0.2. Leads and transitions, we're going to uncheck lead in, uncheck lead out, and then we're going to click OK in the menu at the bottom. So now we have our pocketing, where it's going to pocket the bottom of the counter bores and that surface on the lower end. We're going to take and drill our operations, and then we're going to take and contour cut around the outside, and you can see those tabs that are selected here as well. That keeps it inside our part. That looks good. Let's make sure we have setup 1 selected. That chooses all of our options here, and let's go to our home position. We're going to click simulate from the ribbon bar at the top. Make sure that our stock is turned on right here, and then we're going to click play. It's going to take and run those holes the way that we wanted them to. Cut that surface for that pocket. It's going to go on to drill the holes inside those counter bores. And then it's going to come around and cut the contour, leaving those tabs in place. Okay, that looks awesome. I'm just going to rotate this around so that you can see what we're looking for. So those tabs are in there. That makes that piece secure in the vise that's in the CNC mill so that that doesn't pop out while it's cutting. Okay, I will go back to home. Now let's go up to our model browser bar on the left hand side, click close out of our simulate window, and we're going to click our post process button here at the top. In here, what we want to change is in our output folder. We want to click on the button here. You're going to change this to your H drive by clicking on the H drive on your left hand side. Click select folder. Our name follows through. It says 5Jam here, and click post. We're going to click save once again. And then our HSM editor is going to pop up in a second once it finishes those toolpaths. And this shows us all the M and G codes and our X, Y, and Z coordinates that the tool is following. We're going to go up to the top right hand corner, X out of this window. We're going to go up to the orange file in the top left hand corner of our screen, and we're going to update our changes by clicking the save button option here. Click save. Once again, make sure you go to file and down to save. Excellent. You are done with 5Jam. You're ready to cut your part. Make sure you go tell your teacher that you have the 5Jam completed and you're ready to cut it on the CNC mill. Congratulations. We'll see you next at the